So I'd say about 4 or 5 months ago, I made a video talking about a Resident Evil 0 remake and how it can be amazing, but I have to tell you guys something as to why I'm uploading this video, or essentially remaking it. If you want to skip to this timestamp to go straight into the RE0 topic, go right ahead. Around a few days after the Separate Ways DLC came, I ended up getting the shocking email from YouTube. What they said to me was honestly a big bummer and was essentially the biggest negative for me in 2023. They gave me an email saying that they were going to demonetize my channel for 3 months. I ended up making an appeal video, but it got denied. As to why it got suspended was due to quote-unquote used content. Basically, if you saw other people's channels, watermarks, or anything else on my YouTube videos, that's probably what they were talking about. Even though I have seen many other YouTubers do the same stuff, I think I did it a little too much and made a bad mistake. I ended up having to delete multiple videos, and some of them I was really proud of, including the RE0 Remake video, the RE6 Remake video, and a Classics Trilogy Collection video, along with many more that I surprisingly cannot remember. I feel like it would be a shame if I just didn't re-upload these videos or remake them, since there probably were going to be some people that would want to see those videos. This video right here talking about the Code Veronica remake to build up RE5 was my first video uploaded during the suspension, and all the way up until the Silent Hill video. 10 plus videos without pay was demoralizing, but I did it for the love of the game, and more importantly, I love uploading and talking about RE. YouTube gave me a nice Christmas gift though when they reinstated me, and now we are back, or essentially we have been back. But for those videos, I want to remake and re-upload them. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you are new. There's been a lot of buzz in the RE community about which game should get a remake or reimagining, and today I want to talk about a game that hasn't gotten much talk, and I want to necessarily shed light on the topic. Resident Evil 0 is one of the more polarizing games of the RE franchise, and is one of the more unique games as well. The features in the game were beyond interesting and made us approach the game a completely different way from the other RE games we played, mostly due to the fact that there was no item box, having to grab and drop items and possibly going all the way back to get them if they are far away. This is also the prequel to Resident Evil 1, as it takes place, I believe, a day before or hours within RE1. This is a list of things I would like to see happen if this game ended up getting a potential remake. Even though the odds are against the fact that it could get a remake, I ultimately want to drive discussions and whatnot. The first thing I would do is bring back the item box, but with a little bit of a twist. In RE2 Remake, you were able to save freely on assisted and standard difficulty, but when hardcore came, it felt like classic Resident Evil 2 with ink ribbons returning. I want something very similar with this involving the item box. Here's my take. I think for assisted and standard you should include an item box to make it easy for new players approaching this game, and for hardcore is where classic RE0 kicks in, and that is no item box at all, and having to pick up items and all that other bullshit. As much as people don't like that feature, I think you have to keep what made RE0 unique. Or you could also have a setting where you can use an item box and whatnot for either difficulty or whatever the case may be. Also, I'll quickly say bring back the old costumes in Wesker mode. Another thing I would do is bring back the strengths and weaknesses of Billy and Rebecca, from Billy not being able to combine herbs, which I know is stupid, but it was a challenge, and Rebecca not having much max health compared to Billy. Also, that Billy is just better at shooting, being someone that was formerly in the military. Hip pouches or inventory expansions are a must in this game. The fact that you only had 6 spaces, maybe add 2 or 4 more spaces to manage the inventory would be a lot more easier, even though we had Billy. But once you became him, it was hard to manage inventory. I remember in my first playthrough, I felt like I was way more worried about inventory more than the actual enemies in the game. And a lot of it does have to do with the hook shot, so yeah. I know the hookshot was really important to the game, but it was a huge clog in the inventory management. Speaking of the enemies, I want to talk about 2 specifically. Number 1 is the Leechmen. The range those guys had was honestly insane. You can be about 10 yards away from them and they can hit you with ease. And the only way you can kill them fast is if you had Molotovs, and it took about 3. I would nerf the range the enemies had without a doubt. The Eliminators are next. Listen man, from my experience, I hated these little fuckers with a passion. They were essentially the lickers of Resident Evil 0, but they were quite hard to hit, and they can jump pretty damn far, which made it so annoying to kill them, and it took about 3 to 4 shotgun shells to kill one, and sometimes you deal with 3 of them in one area. Just nerf the health and limit the jumps, because, trust me man, from my personal experience it was really bad. And yes, please make it third person, because I don't want to deal with that bad with the fixed camera, because it was absolutely terrible for that boss fight. James Marcus, on the other hand, is that just change up his opera. As much as I love Devils Never Cry, I don't need to hear him singing the opera part of that song or whatever. The train section of the game was the best part of it, so please, Capcom, don't mess that up. And the Scorpion boss was pretty cool personally, so don't do anything too crazy with the train and drastically change things. I totally forgot to mention something when I was editing this video, and it was about the co-op part that's coming up next. You should be able to switch characters each time with your partner, but essentially doing it in save room so, you guys have time to do a perfect switch and whatnot. Alright, that's it. Now you guys have been waiting for this because this is the highlight of what this potential remake can do, and that is obviously co-op. Imagine combining RE2 Remake and RE5 with the co-op feature and mechanics, and make that an RE0 Remake and the RE engine. It's a money printer. Co-op was one of the biggest reasons as to why technically RE5 is the most sold RE game of all time. And on just a base standpoint of base sales, excluding ports, RE2 Remake is the most sold RE game of all time. Imagine saying in an interview or showcase that you are combining elements from the two most sold RE games ever. Take my money immediately. Now with co-op, it's actually a little bit tricky. There are some parts in the game where Billy and Rebecca split up and have to fend for themselves. Example, Rebecca fighting and taking down a tyrant all by herself. How can you make it work? Do you change things up to the point where you are together taking down a tyrant, or you can't help your partner and can find other ways to help them? That definitely can be possible. It's just Capcom, if they remake this game, they can make it work. They did a lot of good things with RE4 Remake, so I'm sure Capcom can cook something up. They've remade games that were known as classics. Resident Evil 2 Original, 3 Original, and 4 Original, all deemed as great games. But Capcom has not taken the risk of remaking an RE game that can be redeemed as a remake. That's why there are certain people that want a remake of Code Veronica, and why I personally want a Zero remake as well. These two can benefit extremely well with the remake treatment, and I hope Capcom can take advantage of this. The only reason why people really don't want this remake is because, well, it's Resident Evil 0. It's not known as a classic compared to the previous 3 remakes, and let alone the remake of 1, which is known as the peak of survival horror and everything else. RE0 Remake can do something Capcom hasn't done at all yet: co-op survival horror, especially in the RE engine. We've seen many co-op games with 5 and 6, but were known as action shooter games. We saw some couch co-op with Revelations 2, but this is something Capcom can make some magic with. I fully am on board of a Resident Evil 0 remake, and I hope this video can convince you guys to be on the same train as me. I hope, at least. If there was anything I didn't mention that you guys would like to see cut or added into the remake, let me know in the comments down below. Of course, this game is not confirmed by any means, as this video is more so about wishlist and possibilities if this game ever happens. Do I think it will realistically happen? I have no idea, but at the same time, I don't think it will, sadly. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and hit that sub button for more RE content in the near future. And as always, I'll catch y'all in my next video. Peace out, and much love.